Hello, everybody. It is Friday, the 28th of September. I want to talk again about, being natural man, doing that which is natural to us. I want to talk about worshipping in high places and what it leads to and what the meaning of it might actually be, and that is reaching too far out in order to gain a knowledge, and that is on a spiritual path. Reaching far out on a spiritual path. Now, first of all, this idea of high and low. Yeah? If you say I am, or this world is, yeah, then, and it is according to itself, it has got its own light. You have got your own light. Then reaching out, and this world is like a ball in space. So reaching out in space, there is no up or down. Yeah? There is just further out to something that becomes more and more different than yourself. So you're reaching out towards something that is different from you. From the knowledge of yourself towards something that is not like you. And again, there's neither good nor bad in that. Yeah, it's not high or low or good or bad, just different. And then you need to have the sound, you need to be of sound mind to take the knowledge that would serve you, that is according to you, that will work with you and not against you. So, spiritual experience, this life is a spiritual experience. Because we are not just, you're saying you're going by your five senses. That's not all you're going by. It's a big part of how you perceive this world, but it's not all, because you feel. And feeling is not, that is your energy body connecting with another energy body, and there's a flow of energy from one existing thing to another. Everything that exists, that we can perceive as existing, creates energy. And we are giving and receiving of our energy to each other. So this life is a spiritual experience. I was just thinking, I was just driving my son to work, and I was thinking about the rock. I always had a problem with the rock. Most living things, moving things, I can relate to a lot better than a rock, because it's so different from me. But I was thinking that if you perceive if you see a mountain, you're standing there and you're looking at the mountain, and it gives you a feeling of awe, of strength. There's strength, there is stillness. Yeah, you feel that. You get a feeling of that. And are you creating that feeling inside of yourself, or is that the rock giving the knowledge of itself to you? So you're having a spiritual experience when you look at the mountain, because the mountain is giving its energy, the energy of its essence to you. You're receiving of it. And you're gaining a knowledge of the rock, of the mountain. So, to say spiritual is somewhere else, no, it's right here. High places, far out places. So, even if you were to exchange energy or receive the energy of the rock, but the rock gives the knowledge of itself to you, that's far out, because the rock is nothing like you. But in this world, everything is grown out of the same thing, and it serves the same intention, and that is that every part should be here giving and receiving of one another. And that's what nature does. It does so in the physical. You can see it in the physical, but it does so in the spiritual. So we're gaining the knowledge of each other on a spiritual path. And that is the intention of this world, that it should be so. Now, again, when Jesus spoke, he spoke clearly of something that is not of this world. It's not grown out of this world. It's not according to this world. Yeah? It's not grown out of the intention of this world. It's a different intention. It is the intention that one should have dominion over everything. That one should rule over everything else, and that is not contained in nature. Nowhere. It's nowhere to be seen. Even the lion hunts, yeah? And yes, it does have dominion over a deer or something, whatever it is hunting. But only to the extent that it would feed the pride or the cubs. And the cubs, that's it. Lion doesn't go any further than that. It does not want to have dominion over all. And once that is achieved, yeah, the pride is lying in the sunshine scratching their bellies for the rest of the day. Yeah, lion does not get up and say, you know what, here, let's do something really meaningful. Let's all go up and start a war here and take over Africa. Yeah, we will have dominion over all of nature in Africa. We are the lion. Lion doesn't do that. That thought is not in nature. It takes what it needs. And that's it. So, but as I said, Jesus was connected to something in a different reality, a different world, a kingdom that is not of this world. And apparently we can stretch far out, not only connecting to parts here that are not like us, but they're all living under the same law, and they are according to that law. So we can learn from them how they do it, what they can give, and how they integrate themselves into everything else. Right, so Jesus reached far out to this other intention, which is another God, a different God, not of this world. And knowledge was given, yeah, or ways that the will of that God shall be achieved in this world, that he should have dominion over everything, and man being created in his image, becoming like him. Now, I just listened to my friend saying that in Egypt they were all, about nature, the knowledge of nature. Oh, no, here. The Egyptians, if anybody at all, they were worshipping in high places. Yeah? They had definitely connections to something that was not of this world. And they were given knowledge. And again, that knowledge, here, show you this, that knowledge that they were given did actually impact on nature. It did increase their impact on the natural world here. When it was clearly said in the old text that it was the gods that gave the knowledge to the Egyptians of agriculture. And that is mostly, really poignantly, the knowledge of converting the wetlands, the Egyptian wetlands of the Nile, into fertile, drainage, and to converting it into fertile farmland, which definitely had an impact on nature and on the ecosystem in Egypt at that time, because there would have been species living in those wetlands that were wetland species that would have been driven out. Again, but it sustained the Egyptians. Yeah? It meant they had greater harvests, they could look after their children, they could feed their people better. So then the question is, yes, the knowledge did serve them. And yes, they had a greater impact on nature at that time, but every part of nature has got an impact on its own ecosystem. Every animal has got an impact on its own ecosystem. So how far can we go? That's the question. How far will it serve us? How far does it impact on everything else? Really knowing our boundaries. That is the whole thing, knowing the boundaries, knowing how far you can go. Other knowledge that was given that came from somewhere else was the knowledge of weapons. Again, it is described in the Sumerian text that knowledge was given to man by the gods. Okay, let's talk, for example, about a rifle. Yeah? And I'm thinking about the early settlers in America, for instance. If you are still depending on your meat, mainly through hunting, yeah, a rifle gives you a great advantage. It does. Yeah? And that means the food supply for your family becomes more secure than if you're going out with a spear. It also means that there's less danger for you. In fact, if you're hunting a bison or something like that, you don't have to get too close to that beast, which could be a danger to you, most certainly. It could kill you. So yes, it gives you an overall advantage. Good or bad? Well, I would say for yourself, for your family, that is good. I say it makes the food supply more secure. Does that mean you have to go out and kill everything in sight? Which they did. Later on, obviously, they built the train tracks and then they put men with rifles and they just slaughtered entire bison herds. Again, that thought is not contained in nature. That is not an act that is grown out of the knowledge of nature. Nature doesn't do that. The Native Americans didn't do that. So why was it done? Because it served another god. It was done, again, out of the will to have dominion. They killed the bison to have dominion over the Native Americans, to starve them out, to defeat them. So they could then go and take land that belonged to their neighbor. Yeah? Again, something not in the law of this world. In fact, not against the Ten Commandments. So there again, knowledge given, yes, okay. To what extent can you use it? And when does it start serving something else that is not of this world? And you are becoming that which will bring in another kingdom through your actions and through usage of the knowledge. Now, that is one way, through the giving of knowledge, that man is being driven toward doing something that is not in his nature, that is not according to nature. I mean, others that worshipped in high places, I mean, when they went completely insane and started sacrificing their own children, or human sacrifice altogether. Yeah? I mean, that is as far against human nature as you can get. Again, most likely with the idea of a promise given, if you do that, we give something to you. Yeah? But I mean, human instinct is not to sacrifice your children. Human instinct is to do everything for your children. Yeah, to make sure that your children are sustained, to work toward the next generation, to continuation. That is human nature. That is all of nature does the same thing. The continuation of any species. And for that you care for your young, you don't sacrifice them. Again, a thought that came from somewhere else that is not part of this world. So that's one thing, knowledge given. Jesus, there was another way of having dominion, and that is denying ourselves as we are in our entirety. We are a very diverse creature. Yeah, we have lots of emotions, we can have lots of thoughts, we can do lots of things on the energy of our emotions, which Jesus was told to do away with everything apart from compassion and the thought to serve. And do away with everything else because it's sinful. It's sinful because it doesn't serve that God that wants to have dominion. Yeah? It's that's why you have to do away with it. So you can be ruled over because that's his will. And really, you are not firing on all cylinders anymore. And I've seen those idiots doing it, saying, oh, my neighbor is a complete arsehole and he's making my life hell. But I'm standing there and completely serene and I'm sending him my love. Yeah, my love and my compassion. And I will not be moved by what he's doing to me. And their neighbor is laughing their head off. Yeah, saying that one is easy. I can do with everything I want. I can do whatever I want, because there's no retribution coming my way. Not from that one. It's standing there in serene prayer. Well, if your neighbor does not receive your love and your compassion, maybe you should send some retribution toward him. Yeah? To bring him back onto the path of righteousness, so to speak. But you're not allowed to use the fullness of your energies because you've been told part of you is evil and you must suppress it. There's another way of denying self, of not being the fullness of yourself, not being according to your true nature and not being the fullness of yourself. And then we don't have the fullness of our defenses and we cannot fully stand up for ourselves. And that's how we're being taken over. Now, the last part is that we are being driven into, again, a very unnatural state, and that is a state where we have no rest right now. And that, again, is not according to nature. We're being run ragged. It's just one thing after the other. Yeah, we are exhausted. We're going 24/7. There is, we have to work 24/7 to get even together what we need, which in a natural setting, that doesn't happen. You have periods of toil, what you have to do, to get what you need to live. But then there are periods of rest, and those periods of rest are being taken away at the moment, which we naturally need. So we're just going 24/7. And now, again, the only thing that has been hailed to us as a solution is come into agreement. Because we are craving rest, we are craving peace. We need it. We absolutely need it. It's part of our nature. And we're not being given that. And we're being told, come into agreement, do as you're told, and you will be at rest. Yeah? I mean, you will have nothing and you're going to be happy, but it will be rest. You don't have to think for yourself. You don't have to make decisions for yourself. You're being given whatever, and be happy with it. And trust God that he does it all right. That is the only way. Again, that is not the way of nature. Rest is there. Yeah, nature has a lot of rest periods where it is enough. They have enough. And then they can rest for a period before the next period of tribulation, let's say it like this, is coming on. Again, my friend was mourning a fox that died in her place. I think it was quite old, died of old age. But she was saying how hard his life would have been. And no, that fox would have known more periods of rest, where, like the lion, like everything else, he would have been lying on a hedge, scratching its belly, his belly was full and he would have been serenely still for long periods of time, far more than any human being would experience in their lives, especially at this moment in time. So no, the fox would have known more peace and rest in its life than the average human being. So no, his life was probably a lot less hard than yours. But again, the fact that our life is so hard at the moment is artificially created. That is not according to nature. And the peace that we crave would come if we again go according to nature. Because there are periods of rest when we have enough, but we're being driven into more, need more. You don't need it. Once you know you don't need it, you can sit back and rest, as nature does. And there is the peace. But if you want everlasting peace, now here's the thing, everlasting peace, I don't think within creation that exists. Because life is, as I said at the very beginning, it's interaction with everything else around you. Yeah? Circumstances change. There are always new things happening. You always, there's a problem here or there that you have to overcome. Yes. That you have to have dominion over something. Yes, from time to time. Not all the time. It's not all. It's not the only thing that rules your life. But because there are so many parts that have to share the space, yeah, there is going to be friction. Every part has got its own needs that need to be provided for. So, yes, that is life. There are periods of where you have to do something. So then everlasting peace would not be life. And I'm kind of wondering, if it was the only thing there, would you actually know it after a while? If there's nothing else to compare it to, if that was all, would you then know peace? So this idea of everlasting peace is not according to life. Life is ebb and tide, coming or going, giving and receiving, interaction, change, constant change. That is life. But there are periods of rest in that, and we need them and we should have them. That is according to nature. And once we are going back to nature, we will have those periods of rest again. And we will be what we need to be at every given moment. Yeah, we will not be all sweet. We will be sweetness and light when we are together with our friends, when we are in a safe place, when we can share our love with one another in safety. And we can be aggressive if we need to be. And we will be that at times. And that is nature. And that is what we should be. And when we are our own truth in our fullness, I don't think we will be ruled over, because we can't stand up for ourselves. Anyway, okay, I leave it at that for today, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.